Hi, everybody. Happy October. This is our second episode of Got an Itch, Scratch It, and I am really excited to begin programming with you using Scratch. So as you can see on my screen right now, I have 10 blocks up. This is what we call the 10 block challenge. The idea is to get students comfortable using some of the different blocks in the different categories of Scratch. So basically, how this challenge works is they have these 10 blocks and these 10 blocks only, and they can customize each of these blocks to do any sorts of combinations, but they can only use these 10 blocks to create some kind of Scratch project. Now, they can use these 10 blocks as many times as they want, and they can have as many sprites on their screen as they want, but they can only use these 10 blocks to learn about the challenge. So I'm going to pop over into Scratch where I have set up a sample for you so you can check it out and get an idea. And we want to encourage the students to not only play around with the different blocks, but to really understand what they're doing. So some of the things, as you can see in the Start Here section, is to test ideas out by experimenting with each block. See what each block does, pair them up together, see what happens when you do certain combinations, and I think they'll start to have a better understanding. I'm sure a lot of your students are already familiar with Scratch and they want to use more blocks, but the entire concept of this lesson is to only use these specific 10 blocks and see what you can come up with. So going into Scratch, here is my sample 10 block challenge, and you can see down here I have 3 sprites. I have a cat, I have a character named Abby, and I actually found an image from the internet of a trampoline. Kids can bring in their own images. They can find stuff in the sprites gallery here, so they can bring something in, or they can find something from the gallery. We're not focusing so much on that yet because there will be a whole challenge in a couple of months about really customizing Scratch and making it how you want it to look. So for now, I would just encourage them to use something from the gallery or find something quickly on the web. Over here is the stage. This is the background that you see. So if they click in the stage, they have a full range of backgrounds that they can choose. You can pick something from the web as well. So what I did is I applied these 10 blocks across the board of all 3 of my characters. I didn't find some blocks were necessary for some characters, so I added them to other ones, and that's totally fine. You just want to stick with specifically the 10 blocks that we have on that sheet. A quick way to use some of the blocks without actually applying them to your code is to let them hang out over here on the side. So you can notice here I have a go-to block and I have a show block, and these are going to help me move my characters back to their starting places or to hide and show them without actually applying them to the code. So that's totally fine too, and these are quick little tips that I'll usually show the students. Just moving these blocks around real quick, you can see up top here I have some coordinates. These are the coordinates on a grid here for where my sprite is located. You'll also notice down here the coordinates change. You might notice why. It's every time I move my mouse, the coordinates will change. Okay, so you have coordinates here for wherever your mouse is located, and you have coordinates up here for wherever your sprite is located. I found that to be very helpful when you're setting up some of these blocks. And it's all about trial and error. You're not going to know what something looks like until you actually try it out, test out the timings and the distance and all sorts of other things. So you'll notice within Scratch, all of your blocks are broken up into categories. So the motion category is anything that's blue, and you'll see these different blocks here. That's any movement to your character or your sprite. The looks category is how your sprite appears. So when it says say hello for 2 seconds, or in my case here, say hello friends, it's going to appear like a speech bubble. So it's not actually speaking it, but rather it's showing it on the screen. So anything that's a look appears here. In your sound section, we're starting off really simple. We're just playing a sound. There are tons of sounds built into the gallery. Students eventually will learn how to record their own sounds or bring sounds in from the web. And then the last 2 categories that we'll be focusing on are events. This is our when does our sprite do something. For this challenge, they're going to focus on when the sprite is clicked. So you actually have to click items on the screen in order to make them do something. When the flag is clicked is a very, very popular one. A lot of sprite scratch projects you'll find will start with that. And then the last option that we'll focus on is controls. So you'll see here, wait 1 second, or if I move on to my character Abby, I actually have her using a repeat. So when you drag these over to the screen, you're just going to click them in sort of like Legos, and then you can customize each of the sections. So if you wanted to wait 1 second and then speak, or wait half a second, or wait 3 seconds, you'll customize that and you'll see. So just to quickly show you how my 10 block challenge works, I will start with the sprite here, which is the cat. And as I said, I just have these little cheats in. So I want the cat to start right at the beginning. So I'm just going to click here, and my cat starts at the beginning. Okay. And then when the sprite is clicked, what he's going to do is he's going to glide to a certain section, which is kind of neat and makes it look like he's walking. He's going to change his size, and then he's going to give us a little message and play a sound. Okay, then the last thing he did is he hid himself. I just have the hide command showing here. So if I wanted to start fresh and have him back on the screen, I'm just going to click on this show button on the right, which I pulled out to use as part of this challenge, but not necessarily attached to his script. So let's see what Abby does. Okay, so here's the code for Abby. I have it set that when you click on Abby, it's going to repeat 3 times these steps. Glide to a spot, wait, then glide to another spot, which is going to make it look like she's jumping up and down on the trampoline. So after that does it 3 times, she's going to say or have a message appear on the screen, I love Scratch, and then she's going to hide. I set the same thing up for her as I did for my Scratch Cat sprite. Say that 3 times fast. So what you'll do is you just click here. It's going to get her back to her original spot. And if you click here, she's going to show. So you see if I click show, she pops back up. And lastly, we shouldn't really have any sprites unless they have some kind of function. So for that reason, I just gave it a simple command. When the sprite is clicked, hide. So if I hide it right now, it's going to look like Abby's hanging out in the air. So there goes my trampoline. So I'm just going to hit show and get it back. So that is the 10 block challenge. And again, all of the information is on this worksheet. I'm going to provide it for you in the presentation that we've been working on. And for the month of October, the idea is to try out this 10 block challenge. So I hope you have a lot of fun doing it. I can't wait to see what the students come up with. And I look forward to working with you. Thanks.